You're welcome on in. Endswell Boxing, Ireland's only boxing podcast. I'm Al Rich, and you'll find all our episodes, new and old, www.endswellboxingpodcast.com. You can WhatsApp us 083351 5250, and of course you'll find us on all the social media platforms. And you're welcome on in indeed. As always, it's my privilege and pleasure to be in your ears for this episode. Wherever it is you are, whether it's looking out through a rain-swept windscreen of a car, or whether you're sat back in a sofa or in an armchair or on a high stool, in Ireland, across the water in the UK, US, Australia, we're going to look back over a busy week for Irish boxers. Jono Carroll delivered a masterful, methodical performance to beat and retire Scott Quigg. Last week's guest, Rohan Date, beats his highly ranked opponent to set up some potential mouth-watering fight. We look back over the weekend with fights with Donnelly, Vladimir Beljuski, Fredo Meli, TJ Doheny and more. And his Team Ireland is on the move yet again, back from Assisi last week, taking off to London town, baby, for the Olympic qualifiers next week. We'll look at all that and more in this episode. And my guests on this one, two lads who'll go toe-to-toe at the weekend in Boston.
A year out of the ring, a year of things not going your way, a year of hassle with management, a year of hassle with visa applications, a year of hassle with paperwork. It was my worst nightmare, really, with everything. And
no, look here, at the end of the day, it's a sport, it's a business, you know what I mean? We give it our all. We wanna push on, we wanna move on, but at the end of the day, like, you know, our lives aren't going to come to a complete standstill because of a loss. Like
Moylette and Monaghan man, Larry Fryers, and the man who was down to top that card in Boston, of course, Wexford Garda, Niall Kennedy.
So last year, I reckon the only thing is, last year I fought with an injury and it went against me, and Pascal this year wouldn't let that stop.
Unfortunately, had to bow out with a late injury, only just Friday gone. So, should we go full Dougie Hauser? Should we be scrubbing in? Elbow-length gloves and brown muck to wash all the gunk off? Should I record and edit this from a little doomsday shelter anywhere? Binny Folan. Any doomsday shelters across there in Shelbyville, man? Where are we at? Maybe we'll just get some sponsorship from Hazmat Ireland? Okay, right. So all joking aside, have you got stocked up in your bog roll? No sandpaper now, guys. Let's go full kitten soft Christmas toilet paper, alright? None of the horrible Easter Lent sandpaper, none of that's going to leave your nether regions worse than they found them in the first place, if that's possible. Have you filled the kitchen with beans? Because you know when you buy bog roll you got to buy beans, in true Irish style. But or are you going to live in the real world? The real world isn't that scary, people. We got lots of corona here. We've got lots of corona here in the real world. Do you want to come join us? My days. The levels of media coverage they're insane. They're laying it on so thick. It's covered over Brexit. There's no talk of the pedo prince anymore at all. It's laid on that thick. And you know what? Up until yesterday, in true Irish paddywhackery style, we still had the to-ing and fro-ing, the fro-ing and to-ing, and the back and the forwards and back. The blame game, the pointing of the fingers, the HSE point at the Department of Health. We do have an outbreak. Back come the HSE. No, we don't. Out come the Department of Health. Yes, we do.
Duck season. Wabbit season. Duck season. Wabbit season.
Even in Ireland, the borders of ridiculous now are just being smashed. They're not even being crossed. They're just being smashed. The coronavirus is what it is. It's like the swine flu. It's like the bird flu. It's like SARS. It's like foot and mouth. All of those other things, if were managed properly from the beginning, wouldn't have happened as bad as they did. What can we do about it now? We can do what we always do. We can live. But don't forget, we've survived the famine here in Ireland. All the love in the world to my English brethren. But the spuds failed and ye wouldn't feed us. We couldn't eat the cows, we couldn't eat the fish, and we couldn't eat all the veg, so we died, and the famine people sent us all the way to Australia, and that's where Binny Folan and Fitters and Mooney and Joey and Dobbo and all the gang, and that's what the word, they wouldn't be there if it wasn't for our English brothers sending us down to Australia. It's just crazy. But listen, stay healthy, stay safe, Get yourself a little medical mask if that's what you feel you like to do. If it makes you feel happy, if it floats your boat, if it floats anything that you need kittens off for.
Jesus.
Maybe you should just ease off on it a little bit. But as you can see, I ain't losing any sleep over coronavirus. So if you're here in the next few days or weeks or hours or minutes or seconds, or I think I'm getting an outbreak of Jack Daniels virus. As of yet, it hasn't been enough to cancel the Paddy's Day parade. It wasn't enough to cancel the ever so important royal visits to Ireland, where they even came to prosperous in County Kildare. And I'm sure the Paddy Wackery Brigade will be out, and I'm sure those ever so important GAA matches in Croke Park will go ahead, because it has to go ahead on Paddy's Day. It just has to, because that's what the man said. But don't forget, coronavirus is deadly. I know I promised this month was going to be positive for as much as possible, but that's bordering on the ridiculous, so apologies if the silliness did offend, but only one place to start when it comes to the weekend's boxing, and that of course was the main event. Jono Carroll and Scott Quigg, and what an event it proved to be. Jono was box office gold from get-go, really was, from day one, from the first day of the week, from the pressers and everything else, and in his sheepskin or fur or wool, or it looked like an outfit from Game of Thrones at one point, but he turned up, guys, as he always does, and he delivered. And in the ring, absolutely immense. Now let's not insult the man by overplaying it or overstating it. He did what he had to do on the night when Quigg brought a big reputation and a big pedigree to the ring, but got old as we watched him. And I'll touch on that in a few minutes, but don't want it to take the shine or the gloss off what Jono did. Jono was King Kong from the get-go, and if I may use an analogy, poor old Scott Quigg was that little girl in his hand, or that lady in his hand at the top of the building, crying out and screaming for some help. He always comes to fight. He always was there the other night to fight, but he was going through the motions. But there was nothing happening when he got. There was no final product. There was no outcome. There was nothing. Jono was never there to be hit and was landing his shots at will. He was angling. He was giving inches. He was getting angles. He was slipping, rolling, moving in and out. Selection from body to head to body. Incredible. For what it had to be on the night against the opponent in front of him, he was sensational. He really was. He never looked in trouble. He was never... I couldn't find... I'm being honest, and I'm being really, really honest here. I always look to try and find a reason to score against when I've got a fighter that I want to win, and I couldn't find a reason to give Scott Quigg a round. I couldn't, and that's not been disingenuous. It's not been anything. Jono looked composed. He never looked flustered. Always in control, zoned in. Apart from the end of each round where he managed to find a minute or a second or two to G up that crowd. Without a doubt, it's his best performance. As I said, let's just reel it in a little bit and say it was what it had to be to beat the fella that was in front of him. There will be bigger, better and tougher opponents in front of him. No doubt about that. But what it did show is that he has adapted. He's learned and he's improved from that loss to Farmer. He's taken stuff out of it, he's analysed it, he's picked it apart, and he's figured out himself and Albert and the rest of his team are building now on what is already just a sound fundamental base. He can box, we know that. Scott Quigg looked for me at times really lost. We know how tough Scott Quigg is. We know his chin is tough. We know he'll go to hell and back, and we know he'll just keep going to the well, and he'll try everything he has in the repertoire, but really it's just a case of ever you want to see a fighter trying what he knew and not finding any solutions or answers. That was it the other night. There was no final product. He was the epitome for me of the cliche of growing old, right in that fight, right in front of you. And as I said, I don't want to be disingenuous, I don't want to be cruel, I don't want to be mean, I don't want to get into the argument about the towel coming in either. I don't want to, because that's a team decision. That is a team environment, that's a team decision. Each manager, each coach knows his fighter. He knows what he can take, he knows what he can give, and he knows what he's got left. For me, Scott Quigg didn't have anything left. He wasn't hurting Jono. He wasn't creating any sort of discomfort. He wasn't opening any sort of angles or anything at all. He wasn't giving anything to lead me to believe that he could go from round 8 2-12 and win, inflict damage. Just didn't see it. I really am kind of a little bit sad to see the likes of himself and Crawler and fighters like that now moving on and gone. Bellew is already gone. We're seeing a generation that are just moving along, and what's coming behind from a UK point of view isn't really that spectacular. And a good friend of mine texted me during the fight the other night, because I had told him to watch it and see what he thought, that it could potentially turn into a gunfight. And he texted me asking me, what's happening here? Like, they're talking about, of course, the Sky Sports pundits were talking up Quigg, and Jono was given a lot of the Dave Caldwell, shout out to Dave Caldwell, might be on here soon, will be on here soon, gave the nod. Carl Frampton, all the guys gave the nod to Jono because, as I thought, the fresher fighter, he's been the busier fighter. We didn't know what was going to come. But the way I explained it, and the way I would explain it to people who wouldn't be necessarily massive die-hard fanatical boxing fans, the way I explain it is, if you look at the main attributes, what are the key skills? Some will say power, some will say punching, some will say strength. When you think about it and you think it back to the original, to its beginnings, the sweet science it's called, timing and distance. So when your timing is on point, you're able to control that distance. You can time your opponent, you can deliver your shots, you can get in, you can roll out, slip out, whatever way you choose. You deliver damage, and you get back out with minimal or no damage. That is the sweet science. It's hit and not get hurt. You're talking about milliseconds, microseconds can be the difference between a shot slipping by your ear or landing with maximum torque and sending you into a daze. When timing slips, damage starts. And the way I kind of summed it up, if you imagine a boxer being like a car, when they come out of the amateurs, fresh, brand new smell of new car, new mats, nice and clean, hardly no mileage on the clock, nothing at all. When you turn the key in the car, it starts with that vroom, starts that big lovely sound, and as you drive out the gates, it has a pep in its step. It has that extra little bit of je ne sais quoi, as TT would say. But as you drive the miles, and if you're driving to work every day, or if you're driving to do a podcast in Belfast, or driving to do a podcast in Galway or Cork, or wherever the case may be, and you do it over and over and over again, and then maybe someday you're down to town or whatever else, and you get a bang on the side of the car, or some reverses out without watching, you send it off to the body shop to get repaired, and it comes back, but it's never really the same. It's never really the exact same. The car has a bit of a mark on it, and has a bit of a rattle in it all of a sudden, and there's a scratch, and mentally in your head you know the damage is there, that it's just really been filled and covered over. Boxers are the same. Every time they get in that ring and they get into a scrap, if you get into a dog fight, if you get into the phone box and you're going toe to toe and you're treading leather, you leave a piece of yourself in that ring. And being brutally honest, more often than not, you don't get that piece back. So the sweet science part of this amazing sport is that not to not get hit, but not to not get hurt, as far as I'm concerned. So to create your angles, to create your entrances, to create your exits, to slip in and roll out, slip out and roll in, whatever way you want to do it, create your openings and exits. Limit the damage. And the more slick you can keep that engine, the less damage you can take on that body, or of the car or the boxer, the fresher that boxer is going to be, the fresher that car is going to be. Every time you turn that key, you'll get that vroom. But in some cases, like the other night with Scott Quigg, he turned the key, the engine started, slipped it into first, got to second. Did he get to third? Could see him struggling with the gears. I don't think it was slipping into third for him. And the Scott Quigg of old would have gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into fifth gear, and he would have, I'm not saying with Jono, I'm saying him of old, regardless of who was in front of him, he goes through the gears. And that was the best way I could sum it up for somebody that wouldn't be a fanatical, die-hard, watch the boxing all the time. When the timing slips, damage starts, that's when your health suffers. And for the other night, I was really glad and happy to see Scott Quigg make his decision after. It was a little bit emotional, of course it's going to be. It's all he's ever done, and his story is brilliant. left school to go be a boxer because he didn't know or want to do anything else. He's easy to make fun of, he's easy for the media to pick holes on, and he's easy for the trolls on social media because he doesn't interview well. But he's sincere, he's honest, he's tough, and I hope he has a good life, and I hope he enjoys his retirement. And for Jono, man, you're welcome here anytime. I love everything. I love the image. I love the way... I just love the way he's available. He's out there. He's available to the fans, to the public, to everybody and anybody. He's messaged me back numerous occasions. We will speak to him someday. He'll be on here someday. I've no doubt about that. And until then, I will keep watching, keep enjoying, and keep driving that hype train, because that's entertainment 101. Before we get along to the first guest of this week's episode, I want to give a shout out to a lady by the name of Sarah McCoy, listening to us up there in the north, who has been listening to some of our recent interviews. Not too sure how many she's heard, but reached out and said hello, and has been intriguing me for the last, say, day or so. Just great to get the comments, great to get the input, always really valued. So thanks very much to Sarah. Hope all is well with you. The last time I chatted to Ray Moylette was a little over a year ago, just ahead of his bout with Christian Uzuquita in the Royal Theatre in Castlebar. It was the night before the fight. He had just done a weigh-in. He was sitting with his feet in front of the fire, and who would have known then what way that fight was going to turn out? Not just the result, but you'll hear Ray talk about it here. You'll hear him talk about how the fight unfolded and the process that he's gone through since. He is about to fight for the New England super lightweight title in Boston House of Blues on Saturday night against fellow Irishman, another friend of the episode here, and great fella, one of the absolute nicest fellas I have chatted with. And I know I say that about most people, but I mean it about most people. Larry Fryers, he fights on Saturday night, and we'll have Larry on just after Ray here in a few minutes' time. But here's Ray to talk about Castlebar, everything since, and what comes next.
It wasn't, no, but that's part of boxing, that's part of everything, that's part of life, that's the way it goes, you don't always get what you want.
I'm chatting to Dennis Hogan here, and he said to pass something on to you.
He has set the bar high for the rest of us, so that's what we're chasing.
Big year, wasn't it? A big year, yeah.
It was, yeah, fair play to him. But good, that's what we need to see that. It's nice to see other Irish lads being successful and getting the big fights and getting out there fighting. That's what dreams are made of. But it becomes realistic then when someone when you can relate to it, that's when it becomes real.
And you know what it is? I'm a bit of a romantic, and when it's in every way. But when it comes to boxing as well, I with yourself and Larry, having chatted to both of you, it's one of those ones where you're just like, oh shit, you have to do it. It's going to happen now, and you knew it was going to happen.
Well, that's it, but we'll bring out the best in each other. Exactly. The way I look at it, we'll bring out the best in each other, and that's how it. And that's what it's all about.
It'll feed the it'll either or, whichever way it pans out for both of you. It's a credit to you to take it, because there's a lot of people run from it, and we're seeing an awful lot of that lately. There's a lot of lads doing a lot of talking.
Yeah, there's a lot of dodging, but as Dennis Hogan said there, I'm getting old, or he's getting old. Well, the two of us are getting old, I don't know, but these opportunities don't come around every day, so you take them when they're there. That's the way I look at it.
How's it been for you, Ray? Busy year out of the ring, I would say. It's been a lot going on personally and professionally and everything else. How are you? You're doing well though. You're sounding great.
Yeah, I'm doing very well. If this was put to me a few years ago, I would have ran away from it. A year out of the ring, a year of things not going your way, a year of hassle with management, a year of hassle with visa applications, a year of hassle with paperwork. It was my worst nightmare, really, with everything. And if these things dribbled and drabbled over a 10-year career, they would have been very manageable. But to happen all consecutively, one after another, it was sort of very disheartening, to say the least. But thankfully, I have a good team behind me, and I have good people around me that I could stick to what I'm doing. I just focus on the boxing, and everything around me then was being fixed up. But without that, there's no way I'd be sitting here talking with you today, getting ready to fight in one of my biggest fights. So I had a year of hell, but it'll only make me stronger now, and I really know what to have my career now back on track, what it's worth, and how it feels to be able to fight again is massive.
Yeah, Yeah, and I can echo that as well. It's not only boxing, but I keep saying this to everybody. I keep saying this to anyone that will listen. Everyone, no matter who you are, no matter what you've got in your bank, no matter what you've got in your pocket, no matter what you've got over your head or not, everyone has a battle. Every one of us has a grind or a battle of some sort, and it's never. It's the ones that are honest about it will show it and tell it, but it's the ones that not everybody is built like that. And I can absolutely resonate with what you said there. That it's been one of those years where there's been ups, there's been downs, but as Elton John says, we're still standing.
Well, that's it. Like we're all exposed to the social media platform that throws out everyone is having a brilliant life, everyone is going well, everything is great everywhere, except you, the man looking at it, and you're wondering why things not going right for you, and they're so disheartening. But everyone has. I have massive issues going on, trying to get over them and work with them, and my family has them, my neighbour's family has them, everyone has them. In every gym in Ireland there's people struggling with different things. But to be able to keep fighting with that and to keep going with it, that nothing is perfect, but then when the good days do come, they're absolutely fucking great. And that's what it's all about, to keep chasing the great days.
And I think that's what it is. No matter what way the world goes, no matter what way the world is going, when you've got that outlook and you've got it in your mind and you've got good people behind you, you're pretty much going to be able to deal with anything. Right? Yeah,
and as you said there, you mentioned that thing, and no matter what way the fight goes, you still pick up the pieces and go the next day. This is not life or death fight. There's many people, as we know, with this coronavirus and with cancer, whatever, there's people in life or death fights every minute of every day, and thankfully this is not one of them. So this is not the be all and end all. This is a fight, a chance for us to express ourselves and to enjoy the stage and to move on after. We're going to move on regardless, depending on whether we win or lose. It'll just change the direction. But in terms of everything will still be grand and dandy on the day after the fight.
To hear yourself talk about it, to hear Andy talk about it, to hear Jason, to hear people stand up now and say, look, boxing is boxing. It's the truest form of combat. It's two people testing themselves against. So if there's no zero at the end of a career, well then to me that's a positive, because you've tested yourself against the best.
Yes.
You've overcome the adversity, and you're in that position now. You're ready to kick it on again. I
am, and I have nothing to lose now. You know, I have been defeated in my career. I'm not afraid of defeat now. I'm not. So now it's not in the back of my mind. I don't care about it. I just want to go out there and perform again and back into the ring where I love. That's why I do it. That's why I spent the last year in the gym training, because I want to get back in under the lights or back into the ring. That's what sets my soul alight. That's what gets me up every morning. That's why I've spent the last 20 years doing what I do, is to get into the ring. It's not to finish my career with a zero, as you said. So this is about getting into the ring and physically feeling that emotion that it gives you, and that's all about it.
And tell me, Ray, a bit of a strange question here, and take of it what you may. Was the defeat and was the whole experience of it and everything after, was it as bad as you expected it? Was it worse? Was it not so bad? Or was it just a case of something new that you had to just overcome that as well?
I haven't taken any negative from that night in Castlebar for my fight. The amount of positivity that came around the whole event, the atmosphere around the arena, the crowd that was there, the fight that the two guys had in the middle of the ring, getting up in the 5th round twice, coming back in round 6, 7, 8, losing a close decision. It had every emotion in the place. And for me to say I had regrets and it was a failure would be very, very selfish of me, because that night was unbelievable for Irish boxing and for anyone that travelled to see it, anyone that watched it on TV. That was real and it was raw, and that's what people needed to see. And for me to say a negative about it would be very unjust for me. But thankfully, I've taken loads of positives from it. And believe it or not, I won a world title in 2008, won a European title in 2011, won numerous national titles, and people don't care about that. People never ask about that. people ask me the question to this day, how did you get up in the 5th round? I can't believe you got up in the 5th. That's unbelievable. And then that's it. They don't care who won the fight. They don't care what happened after. They don't care about anything else. They want to know how you got up in the 5th round. And that's what I'm being recognised for now. And fair enough, it was probably, no one wants to get knocked down. Absolutely not. It's the last thing in your mind. But when I got knocked down, I got up. But people related to that. And people bought into that. And people, that's connected with people. People don't want to see everyone winning everything and going around Swanee Doll and doing great, because it's very hard to relate to that, because not everyone is in that position. But when you're in the position of the people, they can relate to you, and then they can buy into you. And so, in terms of one of my biggest successes to date is getting up in the 5th round, and that's the way it is. That's one of my biggest nights in my whole career, was that night. So I can't say it was a failure.
No, not at all, not at all. And Ray, anyone that's watched you over the years and one of the traits and saw what that whole occasion meant to you, the build up to it, the way you were received, the way it all just it set the imagination alight around Ireland. And what it does is it proves that, okay, we may not be able to have boxing in Dublin, but what it does prove is that Dublin isn't Ireland, and it doesn't have to stop there. So when we see shows in the Neptune Stadium, when we see shows in Waterford, we saw shows in Castlebar, anyone that knew anything about Ray Moylette knew that it was going to take a fucking elephant gun to keep you down in that 5th round. So I'm not taking away from the amazing and cojones and everything else it took, but that to me was you doing what you do.
Well, I appreciate that. That's very kind of you, and has hit a chord with me, definitely. But this is all about getting in and testing yourself. Like, there's so many things happening around the world that this is a chance to get in, do what you love doing. Everyone wants the big fight. This is a big fight. Why would I not take it? This is exactly where I want to be. I couldn't wish for anything more at this moment in time. Everything is in flow. If that's the word. You mentioned Jerry Hussey earlier, and he mentioned the word flow, and I think that's just the way everything is now.
And Paddy Fitzpatrick is another fella who's flow and vibe as well. It's a key part to the creative, whether it's football, whether it's hurling, whether it's boxing, whether it's music. You're creative, you know what flow means, and if you're not, go have a look. It's a very special state. When you hit that flow state, I'll tell you one thing: production is greater than any drug or any manufactured subs, anything at all that you can ever wish to have. We're heading into, as I said, what we're about. What are we? What day is today? The 5th. So we're about 15.
Yeah, about 10 days out, 9 days out. Yeah.
I think Paddy's Day in Ireland, and I mean this not in a disrespectful way. I think maybe it's got a little bit dusty. It's got a little bit of cobwebby. But when you look at what the Dropkick Murphys and the lads are able to do, you had 2 or 3 fights, you had a gig, and then you had just a proper old-fashioned piss up in the middle of it all afterwards. They're special occasions, aren't they?
Oh, it's massive. This is not Paddy's Day. This is Paddy's Week. There's a week of concerts in Boston through the Dropkick Murphys. And on one of the days, there's a fight night thrown in there as well, just to mix it up a bit. But this is a celebration of Irishness and of culture and of love and everything else that comes with it. But everyone in Boston comes out and supports, whether they're at the fights or not, it doesn't matter. But usually the parade then is on the next day, the South Boston Day Parade. And we're probably in that again this year. Please God, I'll be in it with my belt. And the crowds of people that are around South Boston is unbelievable. And they're all Irish and they're all passionate about what they have. And I say it myself, they are more Irish than we are here at home. I know we used to be a bit dusty and a bit that, but I think when we have it at the doorstep, I think it just becomes nearly, I don't know, we just get a bit, not fed up with it, but it just becomes very easy. But they put it all out there. You know, they're living away from home. A lot of them had to travel over a few years ago to try and make a better life for themselves. They're successful. They're out there all year, and their families are here in Ireland to see them. So it's an emotional place out there, especially around Paddy's Day for definitely the Irish in South Boston, because we're very comfortable here. We've family all around and we've friends everywhere. But if you move over to a place so far away, it's not the same, So I think they used it a week to celebrate and to become Irish again.
Without looking too far ahead, what would be the best hope for 2020 for yourself, sitting New Year's Eve with the feet up, the Madra in front of you, the fire burning and a cup of tea in your hand? What would be the ideal scenario?
That's it. I suppose that you have to look at. We have to plan everything. We have to be seen to be known everything. Even though I can't look past the fight with Larry, obviously, but we still have to figure out what we want. So I plan to win that New England title against Larry, and I hope to have a defence maybe in May. And then I'm actually having a child in June. Hopefully all goes well. So that's set down for that. So I'll have a month or two off then, and then I'll get back on track and hope to have 2 fights before the end of the year, and to be set on a nice ranking, maybe top 10 or top 15 in America, and maybe in a position to fight for a European belt of some sort by New Year's Eve with my feet up.
Absolutely, and the fact that you're even able to focus when you're that close to having the baby yourself, you're a Superman altogether. How's the Queen bee? Is she okay?
No, I don't. She's very good, yeah, but I think I can focus now, no problem. I don't know how I'll be in a few months, but
there's so many parallels I can see with yourself and Packy, Spike and Packy. Chatting to young Reese recently as well. He's a special young fella as well, and
yeah.
I love the way that you nothing. I won't say nothing gets you down, but you certainly don't let it keep you down for too long, and that's a special.
Absolutely, we're like brothers in that, Jim, and that's the way it has to be. If there's something up, I'll say it. I don't go around and we don't let it resonate. If Packy doesn't like something that I bring to the table, he'll tell me straight away, and that's it. It's done and dusted. There's nowhere to hide. There's no bullshit. It's straight up honesty, and that's what we have, and that's what I could ring him at 3 o'clock in the morning and ask him anything, and he could do the same to me, and that's so even though I'm in the ring fighting, but he's definitely pulling the strings outside and helping me with everything there, so I'm grateful for that.
And how does the shy Spike fit into all that? Because he's a quite withdrawn kind of a shy sort of fella, so does he fit in?
Yeah, Spike is some character, all right. I knew that 3 years ago when I started. Yeah, we got on very well, but now when we're together, there's not a whole lot of sense being talked. Definitely not. And you definitely want to watch your back, and you want to make sure your trousers are tight, and little things like that. And you want to make sure you leave your wallet at home, because you'll end up paying for everything.
He's a movie star now, though, isn't he? Will he be in for the grub?
He is a movie star, but he still won't bring his wallet for grub.
It's a privilege to chat with you all the time. I wish you well.
Absolutely, yeah, no bother. Thank you very much for the call. You're a great man for the sport, so I really appreciate it.
What a breath of fresh air. Positive outlook, looking forward, not looking back. Best of luck to Ray on Saturday night. Hope all goes well for him. And, of course, his new arrival due very soon as well. And Rohan Date was on last week, talking about how prepared he was and ready to take advantage of an opportunity that was in front of him by beating Revo Kundiman. He hit the ground running, he peppered, and he did. He hit the ground running, he peppered the Indonesian with a variety of hurting shots. His onslaught caused Kundiman to signal enough after the third, and it was a great win, which takes Rohan to 12-0. Could well set up a tremendous Irish title fight now. Where and when and who knows, all remains to be seen. It looks like it could well be with another warrior from the south, a Cork man by the name of Nolly Murphy. But all that is in the future. That was the only good news to come out of Dubai for Irish boxers at the weekend. Steve Collins Jr. went down to a serious knockout, and very hard knockout, in the first round to Australian prospect Cesar Tapia. Collins had attempted to roll the dice and step up and hopefully gain some ground by taking this fight with his hard-hitting opponent, but it didn't work out for him in this time. He took some seriously hard-hitting and hurting shots that sent him down unconscious, it looked like, to the floor, and we wish him well, hope all was well afterwards, and hope he gets back and we'll see him in some domestic action here again soon. But we wish the Wolfhound well after that fight. It was a harsh knockout when you see it. Not nice to look at. And the biggest upset of the weekend for me and for most Irish boxing fans and boxing fans in general was the Port man TJ Doheny losing what was a tick-over fight. And that's not being disingenuous or being harsh or being smart or anything else. It was seen to keep him busy, to keep the cobwebs off, as he would possibly plot a course towards Akhmadaliev. But it was a strange sort of a fight. TJ seemed to struggle to get going. I haven't seen it in its full, in its entirety, but he did seem to struggle to get going. Then he did get going, caught his man and had him about out, but couldn't just get him out. Just couldn't get him out. It got scrappy and got messy, and it was as if the message coming to TJ again. I'm only surmising, when you look at a fighter of his experience and of his calibre and of his decoration and absolute world champion. That's what TJ Doheny is. When you see him kind of stepping on the gas and trying to get his fighter out of there, to me that is a sign that he knows he's got to get him out there. There's a chance to get him out there, and probably that his team has told him that as well. He had a point taken off him late in the fight as well, which wouldn't have helped matters, and it was just a very strange performance for TJ, who I believe had prepped very well. Rohan had said that his preparations were, as always, very, very good. So look, it's not going to end his journey. It might dent it a little bit, it might set him back a step or two, but look, these things happen. This is boxing. It's the pain game, it's the hurt game, and nothing's ever straightforward. In Poland, our Cork-based Slovak middleweight Vladimir Beljuski stopped his opponent in phenomenal style. Talk about making a guy dance. The first round in Poland, a hugely fancied fighter he was in against, and Conor Slater's fighter delivered the goods. What's next for Vladimir? Who knows? Gonna have a chat with him soon, really soon. Looking forward to catching up with him. He's a character and a half. But well done to you, Vladimir. Brilliant win for you, and a brilliant win for your career as well. Stevie Donnelly had a tick-over fight at the weekend after his first one out since winning the Ultimate Boxer. Did what he had to do, beat Pavel Albrecht in 3 rounds, and now he faces the fancied UK Olympian Troy Williamson on May 2nd on the undercard of Josh Taylor's fight in Scotland. What a fight that will be, and what an atmosphere that's going to create as well. So well done to you, mate. And Fredo Meli, just no luck for Fredo, and what a man. Wears his heart on his sleeve. A tremendous fighter, a real gutsy, all-in sort of fighter. You can't but like Fredo Meli. He's just a real character, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, matey. You really are a character and a half. Danny Dignam is just a good fighter. I was just a little bit better on the night. Fredo pushed him all the way until the 7th round. He took a huge body shot. Did well to get back up from it. Took another one in the 8th, and then in the 9th there was just nothing left. And as always, that man will go out on his shield, and he did so in emphatic fashion. And as in every bout, it takes 2 to tango. And Ray's opponent in the opposite corner on Saturday night for the New England super lightweight title will be Monahan man Larry Fryers, who has been predominantly based in New York for most of his career, has boxed in Boston occasionally, and he joined me on the weekend to chat about everything since his last fight in the Hulu Theatre in New York and what this fight means to him.
Everyone's keeping good, so they are, as I say. Have my son, he's just climbing up my back here now.
The little boss is keeping you on your toes, he is.
He is. He's keeping me on my toes, and as I say, me and my wife. Yeah, April 16th is the due date for Baba number 2.
Wow, how special is that, huh?
Oh yeah, I mean we can't wait. We're over the moon for it, So, as I say, it's great. Just when you see what they can do and what joy they can bring.
It is. It puts a different outlook on things, and especially when you look around the world and you see the different things, and like you can let stuff get the likes of Kobe Bryant and all that, and sometimes the world just has a habit of tapping you on the shoulder and reminding you, look, this is what's really important.
Oh yeah, look, every morning I wake up and I see his wee face, that's what's really important, you know what I mean? Everything else, it's all hearsay stuff, you know what I mean? Like the stupid stuff we actually worry over. When you look at the bigger picture of things, like it's nothing. Like,
and do you know what it is? It's funny. This is going to sound funny now, but I chatted to Ray earlier on this morning because I'm trying to get ahead because Fergal McCrory is fighting in MSG on 17, and I'm trying to rather not be chasing you lads on fight week with weight cuts and everything else. I don't want to be tormenting anyone. So I had and very similar outlook. The same as yourself. No matter what, we're going to get it on. We're going to fight, and whatever way it goes, we'll all move on. And as long as everyone is safe, and it seems to be light years ago that boxers were hating on each other and everyone was ripping the place apart and killing each other and throwing tables around the place. Yeah.
No, look here, at the end of the day, it's a sport, it's a business, you know what I mean? We give it our all. We wanna push on, we wanna move on, but at the end of the day, like, our lives aren't gonna come to a complete standstill because of a loss, like, do you know what I mean? Both of us are going in there with the attitude we're going to win and we're going to do whatever it costs to win. I know I am, and I'm near sure Ray is as well. But at the end of the day, like, after it's all said and done, my life's not going to stop. You know what I mean? I don't think his is either. That's it. That's what it's all about. Before the fight, I'd shake Ray's hand and wish him all the best. You know what I mean? We've already done it personally. You know, we wish each other all the best for this fight. And after the fight, regardless of what the result is, I'll be putting my hand out as well. You know, that's what I've always done, and that's what I will always do. You know.
Yeah, and that's what makes this sport so truly amazing.
Here's the thing, right? Nobody, and you can say what you want, nobody has a perfect training camp. It just doesn't happen. You know what I mean? You can't do what we do for 7 or 8 weeks solid and not pick up injuries, not pick up sickness, not pick up anything at all. You know, be down in the dumps for a week or two. You know, disrupt your whole training camp. It just, anybody that says they've had a pitch perfect training camp, I'd love to see it. You know what I mean? Because it's virtually impossible with the rounds we're putting in, with the training we're doing. You know, you're going to have your bad days and you're going to have your good days. But really and truly, it's how you bring it into the ring. You know what I mean? And that's what you have to look at. You know, once it's all said and done, just hold your hands up and say, on the night, the better man won. That was it. You know what I mean? Don't start blaming what happened in your training camp 3 weeks ago or what happened 2 weeks ago. You know.
Or your Transformer costume on the way to the ring.
Yeah, if that's the case, you know, and as Tyson Fury did point out, Wilder was bumming and blowing about how he uses a 45-pound weight vest every training session. Okay, so you're training with that extra 45 pounds on. Now all of a sudden you're saying that the 40-pound costume you wore for 5 minutes into the ring took your legs away. You know, which is the truth and which is the bullshit? Like
the big jabs that he was eating from round 1 to 7 is what took his legs away, and that's the truth about it. And anyone that wants to say any different, I want to see something substantial to back it up, because all I'm hearing is straight.
Yeah, just admit it. Fury landed that big shot, and it took his legs clean from under him, and he couldn't regain them. And that's it. There's no, just be the bigger man and say what the truth is. I got hit. I got caught. The body couldn't recover. I tried my best. I couldn't regain my legs, and that was it. People are going to stand back and say, fair play. That's what happened. You know. It's like when you get knocked out, you know, what are you going to say? Oh, well, sure, I didn't see the punch coming, so it doesn't count. You still got knocked out.
It's amazing when you look at the person started raised expecting a new baby, yourself expecting a new baby. Both had a reversal in your last fight. You've had ups and downs. So now it's all going on the line for what's going to be a really special week, Paddy's Week in Boston. How have you experienced that before, and how has it been for you?
You know, look, I've been privileged enough to have fought on some big shows on St. Patrick's weekend. You know, like I was lucky enough to fight on Michael Conlan's debut when he fought in Madison Square Garden. You know, and you know, like I say, I've been lucky enough that on St. Patrick's weekends I've been on big shows. So that aspect of it, you know, isn't playing on my mind, and I'm not worried about, you know, oh Jesus, St. Patrick's weekend, oh I'm gonna have to put on it. You know, I've been there and I've done it. You know, at the end of the day, this for me is a big fight. It's a big opportunity, and that's the way I'm keeping it. You know, the whole St. Patrick's Day thing, it's just an extra bonus. You know what I mean? And it adds extra spice to what me and Ray's going to bring. You know.
No, absolutely. And as far as the last fight, then again, it was a huge event, huge occasion, massive respect to you for it. I mean, without giving all the usual, the hard looks and all that, it was you did what a real warrior does. You went out on your shit. You went out swinging.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. You know what I mean? Look, like I say, in this sport, you never really lose. You just learn, you know. If ever you do turn around and say you've lost, then it's time to give it up. You know what I mean? You're not willing to take anything from the fight. You know. Thankfully enough, I'm not at that stage yet. I'm very much willing to keep learning and keep progressing on what I want to do. You know. And look, that last fight wasn't ideal. You know, I could list you off the amount of things that went against me, but at the end of the day, you know, I've learned from them now. You know, and I know if that situation were to happen again, I'd have to do certain things, you know, and just see how it goes from there. But no, definitely from that last fight, you know, I'm just taking the positives, because if I take the negatives, I'd only bring myself down, you know.
Yeah, and it's very easy. We've a habit, especially us Irish lads, I would call it the famine mentality. We have this attitude sometimes that when one or two things go wrong, the whole fucking ceiling tends to cave in, and we think the world is against us. But
yeah, look, as I say, thankfully, you know, being where I am, you know, and the connections I've built up, you know, I've got that good network of sparring, and anytime I need it, I can get it, and like I say, we'll be finishing up this week. This will be our last couple of sparring sessions, and then that'll be it, with fight week, we'll just be tapering everything down and getting the weight right, and that'll be us. We'll be bang on, Sunday is when the missus and the son disappear for the week, which is always hard. But as I say, it's just a lot safer for everybody. You know what I mean? Because especially she's going through her own stuff at the minute too, and she doesn't need my bullshit to piss her off. I've been privileged enough to fight in Boston once, and that was an unbelievable experience for me. And I've been itching to get back fighting in Boston again because of it. And the fact that I'm getting to do it now on St. Patrick's weekend, it will be a magical weekend in my eyes. You know what I mean? And to be doing it and to be in against a guy of his quality, you know what I mean? Two Irish lads putting it all on the line for what is for both of us a make or break fight. You know what I mean? It's not gonna end us. The loser will go on to do good things. I do believe that, but. Look, we both know where we're at in this stage of our careers, and we both know what this fight means to us, you know what I mean? Like it's already been pointed out, we're both coming off losses. So this is a real big fight, you know what I mean? The venue mightn't be the biggest, but the atmosphere is going to be humongous. I know from my point of view it will be, and I know from his it will be as well. And for ourselves, this is the biggest fights of our careers. So at the end of the day, it is massive.
Didn't I tell you? Two genuine, honest to God fellas. Massive is right. Thanks, Larry. Thanks a million for your time. Thanks a million for being so accessible all the time. And even when it's not for an interview, it's constant messages backwards and forwards, and just one of another list of a hell of a nice fella. And I wish him well, and I wish his beautiful family well, and I wish Ray's family well, and I wish the two of them all the best in the world on Saturday night. I'm sitting on the fence on this one. I'm not calling it. I don't want to call it. I just wish the two of them to put on the best show they can, and the best man will win, and everybody goes home safe afterwards. And you won't hear me sit on the fence too often, but I am on this one. Want to give a little mention here to a man who was also due. Coming up now is a man who was due to top the bill on that card in the House of Blues in Boston. Garda Niall Kennedy is Gorey based. He's honest as the day is long. He's as big as a house, and he has a heart and a will the size of it. And when you hear him talk about the injuries that he suffered in the last 12 months and still gone through the barrier, you will understand what I mean about a heart the size of a house. Here's Niall Kennedy.
Last year I fought with an injury and it went against me, and Pascal this year wouldn't let that stop.
And that's the first thing came to mind when you said it. When you told me the other day, you texted the other day about you were on the way to the hospital. I thought, well, there's certain injuries you go to the hospital with and certain ones you don't. So I guessed, and when you had said you were off the card, but
since last August I've been unlucky. I done my back fairly bad. I didn't realise I'd done it as bad, but I done it fairly bad the week before the Devin Vargas fight. And hindsight is a great thing, but I probably should have pulled out a Vargas fight. But we thought, with stiffness and the week before a fight, you tend to relax and do very little. So I thought the back would recuperate, and I thought it'd be all right. So hindsight is a great thing.
Yeah, and was it? I remember watching that interview with you on Off the Ball, and it was brutally honest. It was raw, and it's hard when you can hear, to me, in a fighter's voice what they're not saying. It was as simple as you had kind of weathered it, got into the ring, and as soon as you did a stretch, then it popped on you again, was it?
It wasn't. It's not even a stretch. It's a silly sort of I wouldn't say a ritual, but I bend over and I come up with my hands in a cross. I start to touch my toes as a stretch, and then I come up with my hands in a cross during the introductions. And it's for people that have passed, friends and family that have passed away, and I do it as a sort of a tribute, and looking for a little bit of help from up above or something like that. But as I bent over, the back went completely. It snapped into spasm. And see, I didn't realise I four bulging discs, but
Jesus.
Everyone can have, we can all manage bulging discs, but the bad thing about it then is that one of them was herniated, and the herniated disc was rubbing off a root nerve. So when I bent over, that just sent the back into spasm. So, and then you're caught in a situation that I probably should have turned around and said it to Pascal, but you're in the ring and the introductions are over now. You're coming out, like, you can't turn around and say, Pascal, my back is after going, because you'd nearly be afraid of being looked on as a bottle job, like.
But the honesty as well that's there, and I suppose for again people that look from the outside and people that take time to look past all the usual hype that goes at boxing. You look at Packy, I see probably one of the most real characters. I won't even say character, real people. I mean, you look at his family, you look at himself, you look at how he is with you, with Spike, with Ray. I hear how young Reese, how his fighters talk about him. He's more than a trainer. Jerry Cooney said to me way back on my very first interview, he said real coaches are more than padmen. They're almost like surrogate parents. And I know you're probably a bit old to have Packy as your daddy, but at the same time, he does care for you lads in the way that a genuine real coach does, doesn't he?
Yeah, and look, that I think the best coaches are like that. I was very lucky as an amateur. I boxed before the boxing club, and I had Heidler and Aidan minding me as a chap, and then Darren O'Toole, my best friend, started training me then, and like to go from that then to join or to go pro and meet up with Packy, and it was very lucky to get that connection, and I'm very well aware that I was very lucky that he took me on as well, but it just, we seemed to click from day one. Even when I was up sparring with him, we had a good relationship, so. But he's very real, he's very honest, he'll tell you where you are really, and I was probably naive in the Vargas fight that I should have said it to him, because it had given him an opportunity to change the plans, but for fear of sounding like I bottled it or nerves had got to me, I didn't want to say it, but hindsight is a great thing.
Yeah, but the important side of it is as well, and what people mightn't realise, I said it to Ray, I chatted to Ray and Larry last week, and you know what it is, Niall, the romantic side of me, I hate seeing our own lads fight. I really do. I know that sounds like a stupid thing to say in boxing, but unless there's something on the table for that now, and for the two lads, there's something on the table. This is a crossroads. It's a big one for the pair of them. They're both coming off losses. They're both just great lads, and they're great. Take that one side of it, but the environment that they're going to fight in as well in Boston, it has to be seen to be believed, doesn't it?
It's massive. I've only boxed 3 times in Ireland, and I've had 12 fights in Boston now, so it's phenomenal. Like to take you under the wing. Larry has boxed completely out in New York, more or less, and we had one fight in Boston there recently as well. So he'll have a massive crowd coming up from New York. Like, it's only an hour trip as well, so he'll have big support. But Ray has a massive follow-on in Boston. So, like, just that venue, and I'm sure if you've seen videos of it, like, that venue is insane. On the Paddy's Day show, it's crazy. Like, there'll be 3,000 people absolutely hopping to the rafters looking at that fight. It's for really and truly, they're still gateway fights for us, like, but to have that sort of exposure to that type of a crowd is insane. You know, it's brilliant.
Yeah, and I said that I watched the live one last year, and I've watched it a couple of times when you lads fight over there. But the whole magnitude of it and the occasion, and I keep saying this here, Paddy's Day in Ireland, if I may, and I don't want to get strung up for saying this, but it's kind of gone a little bit stale. It's gone a little bit. If you're the sort of fella who's grown up and you've left the days of going to the pub for the day and slobbering around the place and watching lads that only get out once or twice a year making a show of themselves, well then it becomes a little bit routine. You might watch the GA on the telly, or you might watch whatever. You might go to the parade with the young lad or whatever. Point being, when you look at it over there, Ray pointed it out to me perfectly. He said they don't have the luxury of Irish becoming a little bit stale. He said to them it's just massive, and you have a fight, you have a knees up, you have the drop kicks then drawn into the middle of it, and it's just the raucous, the noise, the energy that's coming out of it. You're one of them and they're one of you. That's just the way it is on fight day, isn't it?
It is, because I suppose, like what Ray said, like, it's their chance to be completely Irish for one day and be so proud of it. And when you have an Irish fighter on a card, then they're just fully behind you. Like, it's mad. And I've been very lucky. Kevin McBride has sort of being there ringside with me for 2 or 3. If I hadn't got injured, I'd have been, this is in my 4th year on this show. But so Kevin has been there every year for me as well, like, and having someone who has been there, done it, and bought the t-shirts. And in my opinion, no disrespect to anyone else, like, but Kevin McBride will be your bother as an Irish heavyweight. And there's no one, maybe Mike Perez, but Mike Cuban first and foremost. Like,
yeah.
So Kevin will be the benchmark, if you say.
And what a fella! I had him on here last. Oh my God! It was like just the nicest. I don't know. I don't have any words. Just one hell of a nice man. He spoke. He's just respect. I'd be shocked. I'm sure he is capable of dissing a little bit, but he's got so much positivity and so much good and just.
Yeah, and he's had a tough life, but he has such kindness and a good nature to him. It's phenomenal to talk to. He's lovely, like he's a great person to be around even.
Yeah, and it's not just fight night, Niall, over there. When you guys will go there, the lads are probably gone already if they're not going shortly, but will you stay part of the camp? Are you going to travel, or is it just a bit too raw?
No,
you have to get...
I can't travel, unfortunately, between the little lad at home and the wife, she's working, so it was, we were calling on a lot of favours for me to go, so. And to be honest with you, I'm still waiting on the surgeon to get back to me. I was sort of hoping for this procedure to have been done and started and the road to recovery start this week, but it's, well, hopefully I'll get news before the end of the day, but that's the I'd love to go over. It'd be brilliant, but it's more important that I get back and get back right.
Yeah, absolutely. And but what I wanted to kind of touch on as well, it's not just on fight night. It's Ray was telling me before, and the lads were saying that it's a case of when it's just from the minute they touch down, really. They're embraced, they're welcomed. Everyone that sees them wants a piece of them, they want to talk to them, they want to talk about fight. It's just an Irish mad city, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's like, I went shopping, this is 2 years ago before I did. No, it's probably after the New England title win. And like I could walk down the main street in Gorey here and no one would know I was a boxer, but I was walking into a massive shopping centre, I can't remember the name, but and some lad came running up to the top of the stairs and said, "Can you get in a picture with me?" Like, we're not a big deal anywhere, but we're definitely more appreciated there. Not that we're not at home, but they're just all proud of the Irish heritage there. So.
Yeah, definitely, and it comes across, even the ring walks, everyone, they're nearly breaking their neck. People that haven't seen it, I'll post a link for it during the week. Woodsy does the coverage for it, and he has the links for it and everything else. It's very well done. It is what it is. Don't expect Sky Sports, but that's what I like about it, because I think I'm just getting a little bit...
it's raw, and it's mere, I suppose, under safety guidelines. It's probably not the safest ring walk of all time, but it's brilliant. Like, you're walking through mosh pits and everything like to get to it, but it's insane. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and you can actually feel it. As I said, was Woodsy's link that I do use every year, and I look at his page on Facebook, and it is what it is. As I said, I'm kind of gone. I was about to say I got a little bit browned off looking at some of the rhetoric and the narratives that have been spun because people, I don't know, people absorb everything Sky kind of throws out, whether it's football or whether it's darts or whether it's box, especially in boxing terms. There's a lot of ex-pros you're looking at, and then you're thinking, mate, you know better than that. You know better than that.
When you're on a TV platform like that, you do start to have to think to the hymn sheet as well. Like, you have to do what they're saying, and you have. Andy was very refreshing on it. He didn't bow to it, and he gave his honest opinion on a lot of fights, but because of the back injury that I had a couple of procedures last year, so I didn't really get back. Like, I fought on August 17th and I didn't really get back training till December. But I put a 10-week campaign for this fight, and for then it's not wasted. Listen, you're buying into your body, you're buying into your health anyway, so it's an investment in yourself, but it's just sickening to not have a reward, not have like you invest, it's not about money, but you do invest a lot in. Like I travel from Gorey to Cardiff every 3 times a week, and like the expense of that alone, and it's like you lose out a few pound on camp. And when people wouldn't understand, like when you're small level, when you're not world title chasing, or when you're not in world title eliminators, often it's very hard to fund. Like you're funding it yourself as well, and without sponsorship and without help from local business and stuff, you're under violent pressure. So
for the next few days and weeks, you're on standby now till you get the call from the surgeon. And will you be back to work, or will it be just daddy is the full-time job now for a while?
Yeah, it'll be just hopefully once I get the procedure done or whatever needs to be done, and the cast comes off, I can go back to work and start. Well, I keep training, I keep running, I keep my fitness up, and hopefully this will be, the injury will be, or the layoff will be as long as the arm is in a cast, and once I can get back punching, then I'll try and get back in the ring and be in shape to be back in the ring, hopefully by the summer. So
you're really low. I've been. And thank you, Niall. Speedy recovery to you. Hope it all goes well. Get the surgery done and get back into the ring to do what you do best. Before we wrap it up, going to have a little look ahead to something that's going to dominate the sporting crucible for the next 10 days, for me anyways. One of the few times on any year when Irish people collectively tune in and watch and show an interest in boxing is, of course, every 4 years for the greatest show on earth. And I speak, of course, of the Olympic Games. And our warriors, our brave fellas and girls, are boarding a plane tomorrow, Wednesday, to fly to London to try and claim their places in the Tokyo Olympiad in June of this year, July of this year. The Irish squad, as I said, they will be based in London the next 10 days, from the 13th to the 23rd. They will box and fight their way and spill their blood and tears and everything they've got in their body and everything they've prepared for the last 4 years and more to try and claim one of those places. There'll be 40 nations, 300 boxers, and up for grabs are 50 Olympic places in the men's, 27 in the women's. The Irish squad, who aren't anyone that's not familiar with, let's go through them. Let's introduce yourselves. Get familiar with these names, because you're going to be seeing and hearing a lot of these guys and girls, not just this week, not just next week, but all through the summer. We're in for a special time with these guys and girls. Trust me when I say this. So let's introduce you to the lads. In the men's 52 kilo flyweight, Brendan Irvine of the St. Paul's Boxing Club. 57 kilo flyweight, Kurt Walker, Canal BC. 63 kilo in the light welter, George Bates of St. Mary's Boxing Club. And the 69 kilo welterweight is Aidan Walsh of Monkstown, BC. 75 kilo in the middleweight division, Michael Nevin of Portlaoise. 81 kilos light heavy, Emmett Brennan of the Dublin Docklands, BC. 91 kilo heavyweight is Kirill Avanazov of the Smithfield Boxing Club. And 91 plus kilo in the super heavyweight division, the big boy, the older lemon, the experienced man who's been around the block 1,000,001 times and back, Dean Gardner of the Clonmel Club. And what of the ladies? What of our lionesses? 51 kilo flyweight division, Carly McNall of the Ormeau Road, BC. 57 kilo, Michaela Walsh of Monkstown. 60 kilo, the lightweight, of course, her former European and world champion, Kelly Harrington of the St. Mary's. 69 kilo, Christina Desmond of the Father Horgan's Club. 75 kilo in the middleweight division, Aoife O'Rourke from Castlereagh. And in those divisions, let's have a look at the places, what's up for grabs. So in the men's, in the 52 kilo flyweight division, there's 8 places to qualify. In the 57 kilo flyweights, 8 places up for grabs. In the 63 kilo, there's 8 places up for grabs. In the 69 kilo, 6 places. 75 kilos, middleweight division, 6 places up for grabs. In the 81 kilo light heavyweight, there's 6 places. And in the 91 and 91 plus, there's 4 places each. In the girls, the 51 kilo, there's 6 places. In the 57 kilo, also 6 places. In the 60 kilo, 6 places. 69 kilo, there's 5 places. And in the 75 kilo in the middleweight division, there's 4 places up for grabs. Which means all of our fighters, majority of, if they get to a quarter-final, if they can win their quarter-final, they will qualify for an Olympic place. Now, I'm not going to focus too much on it here now, because I'm going to have daily, probably daily, certainly every odd day, updates on how things are going. Keep an eye on the graphics are done, the sound are done, everything's in place, it's all ready to go. This is an exciting time. This is it, guys. This is it. This is the time when these boys, these men, these women, these put everything on the line for the last 4 years and beyond while we've been living our daily lives. They've been holed away up there in Blanchardstown in hotels. They've been travelling around the world, around Europe. They've been busting their necks. They've been spilling blood, sweat and tears, and their lives have non-existed for this opportunity. Get behind them. Get on board. Get across their social media. Send them your messages. Send them your love. And let's push them all the way to Tokyo next year. So that's it from me and them until then. You'll find this and every other episode at www.endswellboxingpodcast.com. And as always, love to get your messages. 083 351 5250.
This is Jerry Cooney on Endswell Boxing. I want you for 6 rounds. You and me, baby, 6 rounds.